Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you love these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise you I'll update daily. If you like this watch, see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing an extraordinary IWC Portuguese. This is the 2015 250-piece limited edition IWC Portugueser Perpetual Calendar Digital Date Month, reference 3972-04 in 18-karat red gold. So much mech, so little time. Let's start with fit. This watch is 45 millimeters in diameter. You can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, this is an imposing timepiece. The Portugieser has always been a big watch. Since the very first reference 325 in 1939, the idea was always to pack a large and accurate movement into a wristwatch format, size be damned. And the watch feels remarkably modern as a result, one of the few 1930s designs that still feels contemporary today. So 45 millimeters in diameter, reasonably slim in profile at 16.1 with a concave and narrow bezel. It does slide underneath the jacket cuff, but not the tightest of dress sleeves. Now across the wrist you can see lug-to-lug. The watch is 53.3 millimeters. The lugs do have a little bit of downward swept curve, so it doesn't flare out. It doesn't stretch outward and beyond your wrist. I would say 14.5 centimeters circumference is probably the lower limit to wear this one without much lug overlap. In terms of the spacing, broad, 22 millimeters between the lugs, and IWC fits a remarkably deluxe strap. You can see this one being Santoni, IWC's Italian leather strap supplier, made in Italy, with the signature signal orange on the underside, not visible from the top. Large rectangular scale alligator leather, lightly bolstered, monotone stitch, folded edge, and you can see a semi-gloss finish, full red gold deploying clasp, and very impressive. Satin on the top, polished bevels. I appreciate the beveling. A nice touch. Internally, satin finish with an IWC logo, very secure, also very substantial. So when you have a big heavy watch, you want a substantial bracelet or clasp to act like the keel of the sailboat. So if you wear your watch loose, it doesn't want to flip over on your wrist. Thanks to that mighty clasp, this one won't. The case band is simple. Think of it as a giant Patek Philippe reference 96, the first Calatrava defined by its Art Deco-inspired form-fitting function integrated lugs, and the Portuguese of the same era, conceived 1939, has essentially the same design. There's a handsome contrast between the polish and the satin, and there is a sharp break between the hoods of the lugs and the flanks. So the case band is strong but simple. The bezel is quite minimal. You can see all of polish, concave but very narrow. So when you look at the watch, the bezel pretty much vanishes as a golden, or I should say red golden halo. And the dial has an impressive presence. Sunburst blue with a very deep radial grain. There's a white railroad track, minutes track outboard of all applique rose gold hour indices and Art Deco style Arabic numerals. Now, what are you looking at? You might wonder. Well, we can show you that the basics of the dial are quite simple. There's a mono counter at 12 o'clock. Chronograph hours and minutes on a single dial. There's constant seconds at 6 o'clock. Chronograph seconds at center, hours and minutes in gorgeous rose gold leaf hands, and then you have a leap year cycle indicator for the perpetual calendar. You have the month, November. You have the date, the 24th, and all of this is driven by a combination of flyback chronograph controls, that's right, it's a flyback, as well as a crown that adjusts all of the indications, time, and calendar. So how does this work? A Kurt Claus mechanically programmed perpetual calendar system takes all of the math out of the equation. So if you want to adjust the perpetual calendar, you simply turn and everything moves in sync. The date steps the month steps the leap year, and all of this is foolproof. You cannot accidentally get them out of sequence. You can't create an imaginary date and month for your phase of the leap year cycle. Now there's also stop seconds or hacking, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. I promised you mech, and this watch delivers. Behold the extraordinary 51 jewel flyback automatic vertical clutch column wheel chronograph coordinated perpetual calendar, IWC manufacturer caliber 89801. Kurt Claus perpetual calendar system, 4-pawl Peloton winding system. If you've heard of IWC watchmakers over the years, let's get that rotor out of the way. You know Albert Peloton from the mid-20th century designed the pawl-based bidirectional winding system that is both efficient and shock-resistant and distinctive of IWC. Well, on this family of 89,000 series chronographs, you have a 4-pawl winding system, not the original 2, so it's that much more precise. And Kurt Claus The complications virtuoso of IWC, dating back 3.5 decades, created the coordinated perpetual calendar system. Both of them come together in a movement with a 68-hour power reserve that's adjusted in a chronometer-like 5 positions for precision, features a 28,800 vibration per hour balance that is free-sprung to take a precise regulation and hold it in the face of bumps and disruptions on the wrist. Rose gold skeletonized winding mass allows you to see most of the works, and you can see it's a wonderfully deep movement that allows you visual access to almost everything. You can even see the column wheel rotating away and interacting with its levers and horns of its column wheel chronograph system. Circular Côte de Genève across the bridges and kiln-fired heat-blued screws. This watch has it all. It even has individual numbering. Its 3-bar water-resistant case, individually numbered. IWC generally just giving you 1 out of 250, 1 out of 500, 1 out of 1,000. This watch, unique in that sense, and quite distinct from the average IWC limited edition. But then again, this is a flagship Portugueser. This is the face of IWC. See it and own it on the watch box.